Hello, friends. Topic: salt, sodium, potassium, chloride, different salts, different brands, different textures, so-called healthy, not so healthy kinds of salts that you can take in, adding salts to your food, and how I identify this as part of mental health, especially for people that are prone to it or people that it affects more than others. The mental health. Some people can have more effect towards their heart. Some people can have more effect towards their cramps, their kidneys, genetically predispositions. And that's the main topic that I was going to talk about. Second, I was going to talk about how I look at videos. I've talked about this before. I'll expound on it. How I look at videos for different search topics. So Asperger's, BPD, bipolar, anything that has to do with mood swings. I want to hear what others have to say because I can get a whole lot and I can share more from knowing what these individuals go through that are very similar in a way. And I'm going to talk about that too. So salt, let me back up. Let me start with something that people are very familiar with in this arena. One, medication. And for mood swings, medications that are prescribed to people with mood swings, generally bipolar, are Lamictal and lithium, mostly in the United States. Lithium, if you look it up, you say on their Wikipedias or mental health forums, whatever, basic information that comes up on your front page of your Google. It says generally that the effects of lithium on mood swing type people with depression or any kind of, you get where I'm going. It basically says that they do not know why it does. And they're figuring it out. They're figuring it out the same as everything else. They're figuring it out. They're figuring out. What they're actually figuring out is an enormous goddamn European companies, gigantic companies that have a lot of pull for having certain things be that you can either get your hands on or you're not going to be able to get your hands on, and you're thinking that you have to have this thing or you're thinking that you don't have to have this thing. It's your way in, it's your way out, it's what you need. Lithium is a natural compound, so it's the thing that's a prescription is the lithium carbonate. You can get lithium orotate, if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't care. I have lithium orotate, and sometimes it can have an effect where my mind is going that way anyway, and it's maybe placebo, or sometimes it's going good for me. It does something good for me. I like to think that. And I can use as much as I want. and I don't. I use very little of it. Actually I haven't used it in quite some time because I really think it's counter to what I'm wanting with my brain. What I'm wanting my brain to do, I'm not wanting from lithium. And if you know about things that compete in the body, certain phytoestrogens and such, basically the phytoestrogens or the anything that competes with estrogen or something along those lines is going to have an effect on your body that's going to kind of fuck you up. You're not getting the full effect that you would get from, say, an electrolyte that's pure sodium or pure potassium, pure this, pure that. Well, you're not going to get that, first of all, because everything's been changed. The composition of things have been changed. You're not getting a pure form of anything. And in my opinion, I wasn't born pure or perfect or even close to it. My brain is having some issues. And it's only an issue because there's issue with others. If there was an issue with others, then I'm basically, the only issues that I'm having with myself is misery that comes from attention situations or even by myself, or dreams I have at night, and things that have to do with my brain that are unavoidably really an issue. Lithium is a salt, or it's an electrolyte. It's in your battery in your phone that you're possibly listening to this right now. It's the same stuff that you are prescribed, not directly, because it's altered. So it's carbonate or this or that. That's what's prescribed to you. So what does that have to do with the brain? It has to do with, if it's an electrolyte, then it has to do with the ion channels in your brain. So basically, your brain, if it's functioning without any hiccups, whether you're BPD-ish or you're bipolar or termed, whatever you've been labeled as or you identify yourself close to, understandable, absolutely. You can understand many traits this way, and it's a beacon. To make sense of the lithium, look at the lamictal or lamotrigine. This is the same medication that's prescribed to people that have seizures, constant seizures. What they do basically is if I am correct, it's a calcium ion channel blocker, which doesn't sound good because you need that. If you're having seizures, quite a bit of them, you'll take about anything. I met a guy years back. I met him to buy something off of him, and he had a tube going into his neck. And he said, yeah, I have seizures all the time. And I said, no kidding. And we went up because I was going to buy the thing from him, and he had a seizure right in front of me. And I went over a couple things with him. I talked to him about a couple things. I said, oh, yeah, do you do this? Do you do that? And what was he doing? He was drinking a soda right in front of me with a bunch of caffeine and everything in it. He's shooting for some kind of dehydration situation or altering something that has to do with electrolytes in the body. So that's a point. The lamictal is prescribed to bipolar and mood swing people and whatever. Basically. And So it's not really something that people are it's gonna be this massive information where it's a a formal conversation or something that your doctors are going to sit there and talk to you about. Yes, this, what it does basically is it blocks the ion channels in your brain. No, they just say, okay, yeah, you need me, you pay me, and maybe this will be good for you. We might have to do 8 or 9 different things. We have to get to know you, which is good for them because you have to go back and pay them. Or someone has to pay them. As soon as that comes out of their mouths, oh, you might have to come here numerous times. We got to get you back in here. Oh, this might not be good for you. This might not be good for you. You got to keep in mind half-life too. I mentioned this here and there to individuals because they are taking the SSRIs and everything's wonderful, and then after a couple months of taking them, or 6 months or whatever, then they're in psychosis or they're in manic. So something is good about it for you, possibly. You got to remember, though, that there's half-life in your blood. So if you keep taking something, you're going to have an increase in your blood, and you're going to be chock full of this drug. And it baffles me that cycling is not something that's talked about, because it would do something good for you. That's not what they want. They want you to peek up on something. Oh, we got to do something else for you. We got to go over here and use this other one. But basically, what I'm doing here is I'm pointing out that they're crooks. You can disagree with me if you want. That's your opinion, or the way you're gonna go, which is fine. You're still not going to avoid the fact that there's half-life of the drugs. There's half-life of caffeine. There's half-life of these certain things that are going through your body that you're going to have a buildup on. This is why cycling carbohydrates for bodybuilders so they can get ripped. They understand. You've got to cycle. You've got to take it up and you've got to bring it down. You got to take it up and then bring it down. So that way you can get the most out of this thing that you want to use for your body, to get a certain thing that you want to happen for your body. And that's man to man, man to woman, woman to man, whatever. That's the message from one person to another. And I'm not taking your money. And I'm not your authority. I'm not your caregiver. I'm not changing your diapers. I'm not putting a pacifier in your mouth. I'm not asking you for anything. There's lots of good information out there that I've received. I'd say that half-life tip there's a pretty big one. Real big. To expound on that, let's say you're taking in a specific compound. Look up the half-life of that specific compound that you're using. Say lamictal. Look up the half-life of that, calculate that, and understand if it's, say, if the half-life is 1.5 an hour, or however it is. It basically, once you've looked at it, then you understand that caffeine buildup makes sense, because it takes 6 hours or 4 hours for that half-life. So if you take in 4 cups of coffee, then it's going, if you do that daily, then you are going to have grams eventually of caffeine flowing through your veins, to where you're going to actually get sick, or you're going to, what your body will do is downregulate And the same thing is going to go for other chemicals as well. Your body's going to down-regulate the receptors. So it's basically your body's just saying, no more of this. It's still taking it in, no more of this. You're going to burn out. You're going to turn into a prune. And then when you stop taking it, then you're going to have the withdrawals. Basically, you're going to be in a very tired mood or physical state. Restless too, not able to sleep because you still have it going through your blood. You just don't have as much. Your body gets used to these things. Your body gets used to the cigarettes. Your body gets used to the beer. Your body gets used to the coffee, the drugs that you're prescribed, and so on. And I got to go off even more. And I was at the grocery store, and there's a lady there that I talked to, who's very nice, and she was talking to me about how she has migraines. I hear that a lot lately. People have migraines. And she said that it was prescribed to her, this Midol thing. What? Midol? Well, a lot of times they'll prescribe you things. They'll just say, hey, this is a prescription. Go get it. You go, it's over the counter. Midol? Yeah, I know what the hell Midol is. There's different kinds. There's different kinds of diuretics that you can take. There's ones with caffeine and there's ones without caffeine. I was talking to another person who said, a female, she said, yeah, I get migraines. Bad, real bad. And my doctor said, drink Coca-Cola and it will be okay. I said, what? Your doctor said to drink Coca-Cola? Yeah, okay, all right, well, whatever. And it does it every time, and my migraines go away because you've replenished that caffeine. Basically, it's the caffeine that's giving you the migraines. Basically, it's the doctors they refer to database. They refer to what they've been told to tell you, which of course is connected to corporate stuff. Okay, so salt. First of all, salt is kind of vague because salt is people will say, well, you need to reduce your sodium. Doctors will say, you need to reduce your sodium. Well, first of all, you're not going to reduce your sodium. You're going to, first of all, you're going to say, well, they're going to say you need to lower your salt intake. You need to reduce your sodium. Okay, well, first of all, and I wrote a lot of stuff down here because I wanted to convey properly, very properly, that salt is not the same in different brands, in different ways that you're looking around. The whole concept that you need to have salt to survive, you need this, you need that. Remember when I was talking about how your body will downregulate or compensate or do what it needs to do to survive if you have basically nothing? Well, first of all, we don't, as humans, if it was to go oh so bad with all these humans, I could go forever on that. That's anxiety, and I'm not going to go there. Basically, where I'm at, if I wanted salt and I didn't have a grocery store to get salt from, there's not going to be any salt where I'm at. There's no salt. The only salt that is going to be anywhere is going to be in the ocean or Salt Lake, which is so many miles away from here. I'd be dead before I even got there if I had to have salt. Okay? Well, I take salt completely out, and I'm still alive, and I did this probably 8 months ago. Entirely. So all the salt that you grind or shake or any of that, I took it out. And I went through quite a bit of different brands and everything to get to that good health that I needed. And here's a couple of points that I have. First of all, when you go to your grocery store and you look at the salt aisle or the spices aisle, and you're sitting there looking at the salts, you'll notice there's different prices. You'll notice that there's different little grinder looking things, and they're kind of expensive. There's sea salt that doesn't have anything in it, which is bullshit. They're lying. And salt, we're sticking to just basic salt, not added to foods yet. We're talking basic salt aisle, buying the pure thing that you think that is pure. No, it's not. So I went deep into salt, and I got all kinds of salt. I've got Himalayan pink salt. I have kosher salt. I have a brand that comes in the little cream looking box that has the whatever from Ireland or whatever, that has the specific little design in the flake of each salt. That's their specialty. I have that. I have the crystals that you can get, the brand crystals. I have it all. I have every single salt your ass can basically get. I have the gray salt, the gray sea salt that has the gray look to it. And something that's in the way of every single one of these salts that's undeniable is they're all different. They all have a different form, they all have a different color, they all have a different composition. So Himalayan pink salt, I say, what I'm thinking, okay, well, what mineral is pink? Chromium or red or B12. That's not B12, it's, chromium, a high chromium mineral. And a lot of this Himalayan salt is mined. You can watch videos on that where there's huge mounds of these mined salts that they basically use people to mine under extreme, very shitty situations with sulfur and nastiness. It's awful what those people have to go through to get that salt for you that you think is healthy for you. When you take in salt, whether it's crystals or whatever, however their composition that they have put together for you, where you're thinking it, there's something very important that they're putting in there or increasing, is the chloride. If you look at other foods, chloride has been added to a lot of different molecular, basically changing it, altering it. Calciums, potassium chloride. So at this point, potassium chloride, there's no sodium. Or calcium chloride. Or whatever, sodium goes off into Never Never Land and ends up in your Hormel bacons and such. Sodium nitrate, sodium this, sodium urea, whatever. There's a lot of changing things up here, and you're buying that and you're ingesting that. So one of the main ways that the body can really be fucked up and manipulated with is through electrolytes. And the most fascinating thing of the body is probably the brain. Still, other than that, it's electrolytes. How all the cells of the body function incorporated, how everything comes together in a way of how the mind is altered by being dehydrated. You'll know this. If you've ever been through, if this is what you've ever done, if you've ever ran a long ways or you did a lot of exercise or you had a couple of days where you were doing a whole lot of something and it was very noticeable that you were burned out. When you're dehydrated, you're going to be in a completely run down state. Well, that's your whole body. Well, how about your brain, though? What kind of compounds can exclusively fuck up your brain and not your entire body? What kind of compounds can purposely, intentionally be targeted to your brain? Well, salt is the number one compound that you're going to have in all of your foods. So you watch a Doritos commercial. Johnny Depp eats Doritos, and he can make Pirates of the Caribbean because he's fueled on it. Gatorade. Fuck. And you can do it because you take in salt. Guinness, a meal in a glass. Lefroy Scotch, it's medicinal. Electrolyte pills. Fuck. Go down the aisle at your grocery store. Look at the drink section, the fridge section, where you just go down. And now they've made this derivative section of drinks. You have water that's been manipulated or messed with, and then you have everything added into it, colors and these altered electrolytes that I'm talking about, added in with glycoalkaloids that are also going to have an impact on your cellular function and your brain, good and bad, with marketing on the can. George Foreman Grill, Jack Nicholson Lemonade, golfer. Yeah. Oh, Jack Nicholson. Oh, that's a shiny can. I'm just going to go ahead and drink that. Oh, it has electrolytes? Oh, okay, I'm going to take that in. Did you look at the ingredients? Did you look at that? Okay, you look at the ingredients. Are they telling the truth? Probably not. So I took salt out. And that had a decrease of issues for my body. A lot of issues. The body's very complex, so there's going to be a million things all the time where you're going to say, okay, I feel this, I feel that. I feel a little off here, a little off there. I don't feel great. Give me some coffee, give me some coffee, give me some coffee. Starbucks commercial comes on. Get a boost. Get a nitro boost. Try our new canned Starbucks coffee. Get a boost. Basically, overdraw yourself. So that way you can get frickin' smushed when you're not wanting it to happen. When you need that energy, when you need people to fuck off and you're in a frickin' slump and you're not going to get out of it because these Starbucks shooters and all that stuff and monsters. I was just at the gas station and I park in the gas area because I always do. It's covered. Feels good. It's cold here. And the guy, a younger guy, big, tall. You ladies would have loved this guy. Big, tall, good-looking guy. He hopped out of his SUV. He had 2 monster cans in his hand to huck in the trash. Everything and anything that the commercialism can bring towards you to get you to think that you need to get that boost is taking something from you. And not only are you paying for that and doing things to get something so that way you can pay for that, it's something that's taking away from you at a specific time, maybe a critical time, whatever. You're better off if you can stay steady. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that. So electrolytes are a big thing to do with mental health. If you're moderately depressed, if you will admit that, because I'm sure you're going to want to exaggerate to everyone that you're extremely depressed all the time. And if you have, if you're hanging on by a string, depression, if you have mood swings that take you to freaking Zimbabwe in a manic high, if you've got the dough, you'll understand some of this. You'll understand. I think that the arguments that I have with my mother, and most people, are driven by caffeine. I've noticed this, that there's this fucking high. And I was thinking about it today. I was thinking, is my mother manic and all that? I don't know. If she has her own subtle manic ways, I don't know. What I do know is that I've been close enough to my mother to know that she pounds caffeine down through stupid ass Diet Cokes. And she pounds them. Pounds them. And whenever there's a gathering, or whenever there's she knows she's going to be around me, or if we're ever at a restaurant, or a long time ago, it's always the same thing. A Diet Coke, Diet Coke, pop, 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 pop. She shows up to anything, she's got a fucking Diet Coke. Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke. My father, Coke. Getting arguments with my mother. There's no fucking Cokes in the fridge. Where's the fucking Cokes in the fridge? And then my mother, being who she is, she'll get the RC Cola. I don't want the fucking RC Cola. I want the fucking Coca-Cola. Well, she knows that she's gonna get attention because she didn't get the fucking Coca-Cola. And the interesting thing is that Coca-Cola does have cocaine in it, according to Wikipedia. Still, Coca-Cola has cocaine in it. And it's not a lot, because they only use the byproduct. Leaves. I read this. I don't know if they still put this on there. It's just maybe 10 years ago I read this on Wikipedia. They said that Coca-Cola has they have the coca leaves. They don't. It's coca leaves that have been extracted of the cocaine, and they use and it said on there. I think this is what it said. I'm recalling this, that they use the cocaine for prescription only very specific reasons. Where the fuck is that at? Who's getting prescribed cocaine? It's used. I think that their bullshit was that they use cocaine for blood loss thing and surgery or whatever. I mean, fucking bullshit. That's a lot of cocaine because there's way, 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 way more Coca-Cola than there is some blood loss thing in surgery or whatever. I mean, we're talking a lot of cocaine up a lot of noses. Look deep, my friends. Look deep. If you look a little deeper, you'll realize that when they say something like that on Wikipedia, it's fucking stupid. It's so stupid. It's as if they're just wanting to know if people even notice those things. Coca-Cola. I've heard plenty of times my mom saying, "Oh, I think it's the cola nuts and the Coca-Cola that he loves." You know, my dad, he was fucking drinking Coke all the time. All the time. We would stop at the 7-Eleven where the people knew him and they would just hook him up. And he would just load, dude. Load. If I was even around the guy, and if I was, there he was, just loading it up. Oh, I think he just loves the cola nut just makes his tummy feel better. That's my mom. Yeah, whatever. Here's also my mom. That's just life. That's just life. Invalidating, passive, dog shit. All right. So, I took the salt out. So that means I took the chloride and the potassium out. And my body adjusted to that. And I felt better all around. I lost weight. I felt better. It's a godsend. No, it's a joke. It's up to you. It's up to you. Do you need to roll the dice to know what's good for you? Do you need to get on your knees and put your hands together and look up into the fucking ceiling and ask nothing if you should do this or do that? Or maybe you might say, "Oh, hang on a second. There's actual self-evident things that go on that I can gather from and understand that I'm going in a way that takes me at least a step up or a step." If you are always needing others, and you might say, "Well, what about what you're talking about right now?" Well, that's up to you. If you need others to tell you what you need and what's good for you, and things are not going so great, well, the mindset that I have, that there's always something that they said that might have a little bit of juice in it. There might be something there where you could say, "All right." And if this is the pun, if this is their take everything with a grain of salt thing that I never really got when people say that, take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. I fucking hate that. And that is a connotation in itself. If you think about that, take it with a grain of salt. Eh? And there's this fenced in area that's going into slaughter. And there's the free wolf, coyote. There's a minging coyote that runs around out here, who's been alive for years. It's got hair coming off its sides and shit. When I get a little daylight look on that thing, it's the thing is fucking haggard. I love it. And it's always trotting around in weird times of the day because I'm looking out the window and I'm walking around in the middle of the night and I could be pretty close. And this thing's so far out, it doesn't even recognize that I'm close to it. And then it'll recognize me and say, oh, fuck, and it'll split because it's looking for some prey, a cat, someone's cat or whatever. It's incredible. I just saw it yesterday morning. I was looking out the window and I have a school across the street, the little kids' school, a little elementary school. And the coyote in the broad fucking light at 8 o'clock in the morning with all the cars in the parking lot and everything was just walking around, going to this little trench area to go down into the what would have water in it whenever they want water to be in it. It's just amazing. It's amazing that there's a sign right directly on the path behind me that says, "Look out for the coyotes. It has attacked a child out here. Look out for them. They're horrible." Whatever. And there's the coyote just walking right there, and only I might notice this coyote because I'm looking. And there's all these people that say, "Oh, you gotta shoot it. You gotta kill that thing." That's what I was thinking. Here, and I was watching it. It was being very careful about how it was moving around. It knew where it was going, and it went through its path, and it made it because it knows the safe spots. It knows how to just stay unseen. I saw its ass because I got my window. I'm looking right at it. So watch out, you coyotes. Watch out. Watch out for the rhetoric. Watch out for the people that are telling you that things are good. Look at their interests. Look at what they have to gain. Your saviors, are they? Are they getting paid? Are your saviors paid? Are they paid well? Are they paid way more than what the fuck you have or get? Oh, and they're telling you what's good for you. Your saviors, your authority, your help. Anyways, I'm gonna do a couple shout outs here. KK, shout out to you. You've been a little silent. It's alright. We all need that. Gotta take a little time. Dawn, shout out. You're having your... I saw your video. You had some McDonald's. I'll pass. You got a McDonald's hack. I'll pass. Anyone, check out Dawn's channel. Gotta think of what her channel name is here. Look for Dawn. Damn it. And... Horatino. Horatino, for spelling sake. She's a younger gal. Sabrina, best to you. Haven't heard from you. Best to you. always go over to impaired functioning. Check out the gray areas video. That was always a big one for me. I appreciate her leaving that one up. I don't know her name. If I forgot you, forgive me. I'll get you next time. Good night.